talk about stars. On day 86 of the Quilt Block a Day Challenge, I did a video on Sawtooth Star Block. Now, as you know, there are many blocks out there with the word star in them. So let's talk about stars. Stars are usually points coming off of a center block, and that center block can be made many different ways. The points are usually two ways. The first one is with half square triangles, and the second is with flying geese units. Now this block has the half square triangles, and the way you can tell that is there's a seam between the 2 points. Now Sarah's Choice is another block that's a star, and it is built with flying geese units. Here is Sarah's Choice block, and as you can see, it is made with flying geese unit. There is no seam between the points. So today we are working on Sawtooth Star Block. This is an easy beginner block. I'm going to show you how to make the star, make sure you don't lose those points, and I'm even going to give you a tip on how to spin that center seam. As you can see, it is a star block, and it has a pinwheel in the center. Now we've done a lot with just a plain center, or I fussy cut something. That's the beauty of learning how to do these points. You can put anything in the center here, and it really stands out in a quilt, especially once you get the quilting on it. It really looks nice. So let's take this block apart so that you can see how I put it together. Now 4 corners are 3.5 inch squares. Now anytime you have a 12.5 inch block unfinished, which this is, it's divided into 12. So 3.5, 3, 6, 9, 12. You know, once you take the 1/2 inch increments for the seams, that's how that works out. Now if this was 3, like I believe yesterday's block was, that's a 4.5 inch block, and that just divide your unfinished size by 3 or 4, and you know what size blocks these are supposed to be. So these are 3.5 inch blocks. Now these, all of my half square triangles, I cut those at 4, and I cut them bigger so that I can trim them down. And let me show you what I mean. So just to do these, what I've done is I've taken my 4 inch block, I've gone from center point to center point, and then a scant 1/4 inch on each side. So it just makes it easier to sew a bias seam like this when it's intact. When you cut it, that's when it starts stretching, and it can stretch out of place, and it just doesn't look as nice. So I like doing them this way. It just makes them easier to do. And then all I have to do is just cut them in half. And I get 2 for each block, and it just makes it much easier to do. So that's how these are done. And actually, let me just cut these all in half, and I will lay this out and show you how quick and easy this really is. This does not take a lot of time. This is, or material for that matter, this is less than a fat quarter of material to make. Okay, so there are my half square triangles. Now I have opened up my center ones here, and these are to be trimmed down to 3.5 inches. Now I always trim down according to my center seam there, because it just makes for you can square this up against that center seam, and then you don't have to worry about if that's going to line up, if you're going to get a nice point in the center of your pinwheel. So let me finish squaring this one just so you can see. And I just, take my time. Yes, it's a lot of cutting, but you just get a nicer point on each end. And it just makes for a nicer point in the center of your pinwheel. So these are my centers, and I will trim those up. And then these are my star points. And the same thing with them. I will trim those up to 1/2 inch or 3.5 inch, and it will, they'll fit right in there. So let me show you the center of the pinwheel. If you can see that, what I've done is I've just taken that seam apart, and my seams spin so that you can see it just lays flatter in the center, because otherwise there's a lot of material sitting there in the center. And if you just spin your seams, you get a nice flat point in the center. So that's what I have for you today. It's an easy beginner block. Like I said, 3.5 inch squares on the 4 corners. These are 4 trimmed down to 3.5 after you do your half square triangles. It's located on Quilter's Cache, as all of these patterns are. These patterns are free for you to use and print and enjoy. Take some time for yourself and just make one of these blocks. Just take a little bit of time for yourself to do something nice for yourself, because it's been crazy out there, and I want everybody to stay safe and enjoy this. Enjoy the time to sit and sew just for a little bit each day. It'll make you feel better. So that is Sawtooth Star Block. And as you saw, we learned about 12-inch blocks made with 3.5 inch squares and 4.5 inch squares. We learned how to square up our triangles on the diagonal with the 45-degree line. I even showed you how to spin that center seam. If you like this video, please subscribe. Ring the notification bell to find out when I release new videos. If you'd like to join a group of like-minded quilters, come join Quilter Swarm on Facebook. Answer the questions and you can get right in. You can also join my email list by going to quiltcrafterscorner.com. All these links are in the description below. Thanks for watching.